We're looking at a worksheet, a very busy worksheet that has a lot going on. Practically every numerical cell here, except for the blue ones, are formulas. And as I work with this, imagine I scroll up and down and change numbers as needed. I'm forever adjusting it. I scroll left and right. That's fine. But I also use this for presentation purposes. Sometimes I want to display all of this. I'll have to zoom back, of course. Sometimes I want to display only the quarters, or maybe sometimes I want to display some of the detail, but not all of it. So let's start with the idea that I always want to return to a certain look. So let's say I'll use the zoom slider button in the lower right-hand corner, or pressing Control and zooming with the mouse wheel. I want to get this on the screen in such a way. And one little tip that's handy here, if I want to see this data here as large as it can be, I'll highlight it, and then on the View tab, choose Zoom to Selection. It's not going to change it too much here, a little bit bigger. But let's say I want to return to this view often. And when I am using it for display purposes, I don't want to see the headings. So on the View tab in the ribbon, you'll see a choice called Headings. I'm going to uncheck this. Now I can make it a little bit bigger again. We're not seeing the column letters or the row numbers at the moment. Once again, I'll highlight this and zoom to selection. So I want to be able to return to this view at any time. I don't want to see the column letters and row numbers when I come back here. So I've got all this data highlighted. On the View tab, you see a choice called Custom Views. Choose it. We don't have any defined yet, but I'm going to add a new one. And I'll simply give it a name, something like All Data, using spaces or upper and lower case as I choose. And OK. Now, at other times, I want to display just the quarters. We see first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. So I'm going to be hiding those columns, but I need to bring back the headings again, so I'll do that. I'm going to drag across columns B, C, and D and releasing the left mouse button, but now holding down Control, I'll select the next three columns and the next three. Remember, I'm holding down the Control key as I do this. And then right-click and hide these. I like this look. And let's say here too, I want to turn off the headings. There we are. And again, I can't make this a whole lot bigger, but once again, zoom to selection. There we go. I want to save this look also. Back to Custom Views, add a new one, and I'll just type in something like quarters. Another view that I might want is this something just like this, but without showing the detail for expenses. This time I'll bring back the headings and hide rows 16 through 31. Right-click and hide. And once again, zooming to selection. I like this look too. And for whatever reason, I'm not going to bother getting rid of the column letters. That's okay. That accentuates the idea we've got hidden columns here. So I want to save this view as well. So once again, Custom Views, Add, and I'll just call it something like, Summary or Big Picture. So there are three broad approaches to using this. The standard one, and just fine, is go to Custom Views. It's on the View tab at any time. So we could be working over here on the Home tab, the Data tab, whatever. We want to get to one of our other views, we'll go to the View tab. Custom Views, there are choices. I want to go to Quarters. I'll double-click it or click it and then go to Show, either way. Sometimes you have to scroll up and down to see the view. There it is. Notice we're not seeing the column headings because when that view was saved, we didn't have them. Back to Custom Views. How about All Data? Double-click. There it is again. Now, there are two other ways to get to this, and it's by way of what we call the Quick Access toolbar at the top of the screen. And the two ways are in contrast. You'll decide which one you prefer. You could conceivably use either one of them or both. So on the right side of the Quick Access toolbar, typically at the top of your screen, there's a drop arrow. Customize the Quick Access toolbar. Come down to More Commands. Two different approaches, going to different commands, although they're similar in what they do. Choose Commands From, choose View tab. And in the View tab here, unlikely at first, under Save, Save Custom View, Add. We'll add that to the Quick Access toolbar. How does this work? So instead of going to the View tab, so we could be anywhere else, we don't need to worry about the View tab. Here's this new button. Click it, and what pops up? Custom views. Okay, that could be handy. Quarters, you use it in the same way. That's fine. Let's go back to modifying the quick access toolbar again. This time, more commands. And this time, instead of popular commands, we're not going to go to the View tab this time. We're going to go to all commands. Click in here. This is a huge list, alphabetized. Click the letter D because it's actually just above the letter D entries. And then you'll see here, custom views. This is a different button than we added before, even though it has a very similar name. Click OK. This button actually has a panel. You see it up there. It says quarters. Let's go to all data. That's even faster. Big picture. Now, the more custom views you have, the handier this might be. Now, again, you do notice, or you will notice at different times, this kind of a display. Usually a quick scroll up and down brings things back to normal. But that's either a glitch in Excel or some feature that could be unique to your setup of Excel. Never quite sure on that one. Nevertheless, this is quick and handy. Now, if you open another workbook or if you're working with another workbook, this is still up here. So if I press Control N, think of N for new, brand new workbook on the screen, we still see this up here. I've got my other workbook open. I click the drop arrow here. What do I see? Nothing. Here's that custom view button. I click that. That's empty because in this workbook, there are no custom views. I'll press Control Tab to get back to that other workbook, and here we are, and then we see those. So you'll have to assess whether this amount of real estate being used up at the top of your screen is worth it or not. But you could imagine for worksheets like the one we've been dealing with here, having the ability to switch back and forth between those custom views quickly with either this kind of a drop button here or by way of that other kind of a button could be really handy at times, depending on how you might be working with a worksheet like the one we've been working with here.